Celya Singleton, and I'm married to Emery Singleton, and grew up in Provo in the city, and ended up in Minneapolis for a while, and I came back and married Morris. And in the process of all that, we discovered alpacas in Minnesota, and so I asked him if we could get a couple, and he said yes. So now we have around 40. So true to my form, I usually jump into the lake and then I try to figure out how to swim. So it's like, we have all these alpacas now, what are we going to do with them? So they're so expensive, and I didn't know how to process fiber, so I jumped in. So we went to a seminar in Colorado, and there was a woman there with a spinning wheel, and I started spinning and I fell in love with it. She let me take her spinning wheel up to my room that night and spin, and I spent most of the night just spinning. So I loved it so much, I decided I was going to buy a wheel, and I found a wheel in California, and my cousin lived in California, and she asked her to go get it. The woman I bought it from didn't know if it was a real wheel or not, and she picked it up, and I met her in Vegas and brought this wheel home, which was broken. So I had to figure out how to repair a wheel and how to run a wheel at the same time. So I ended up in Helper with Michelle Goldsmith, and she spun with me for a little while. And then it just took off, and I decided I wanted to create a co-op kind of, or teaching situation here in the area. So I started buying up all the wheels and carders I could find anytime I found one. So I have many wheels, many sets of carders, and I would love to teach anyone that would love to know these arts, because I felt like it was really important to have, because of the way the alpacas came to me. It was very different. I didn't go searching them out. They came to me, and I was given and gifted, and I just felt like that's what was supposed to be here in Emery County. So I've just followed with that, and we have a herd of alpacas, and they're very sustainable, lovable, wonderful animals that I think are perfectly suited for this area. So I learned how to spin, I learned how to card. I have all the equipment set up so we can start from washing, dyeing, carding, spinning, and even weaving. I have big looms set in the garage that are going to be coming in here pretty soon, so that we can set up to do any of those things, and we can take the fiber right from the animal and turn it into something. So that was my goal with all of it, and I got a little delayed because I was taking care of my mother for a few years with dementia, and she just passed in December. So I'm hitting it, ready to start it and get it going again. So that's a little history on me. So this is a wheel that I got from a woman in Salt Lake for $100, which is unheard of. She just wanted it to go to someone who would really use it. The problem is I have neuropathy, and I can use this, but when I do my production spinning, I use that. And I'm going to repair that and get that operable. That one is an old one from England, I think. This one is a rug. Well, I have rug yarn on this. You can spin anything on it, but I got it to spin rug yarn on. Declan has that one messed up too. Wheel goes both directions. I have to just, it's a little bit tricky. Bring that on, set it back in, and then hook it up. So Morris has been such a good sport, because they brought this broken spinning wheel in, and had to figure out what tension and everything else was, and he watched lots of tears. This is called a single. So when you start spinning, you spin singles, and then when you get 2 singles spun, then you go the other direction, and that's called plying, and that's when it turns it into yarn. I'll show you that in a second. I'll put that down for a second. Long process. Or you can do more than 2 plies. You can do a 3-ply. Actually, you can go all the way up to 16 or 18, 32. You can go as much as you want just by, you spin one direction, ply the other. Just maybe 6 years, maybe 7. Not continuously. Actually, when I was taking care of my mom and dad in Provo, that was been the last 4.5 years. My dad used to love to sit and watch me spin because that's what his mother did, and he thought it was so fascinating. So I would spin a lot at their house while I was there taking care of them. There's a hole inside right here, and we're going to pull the thread through there and then out. I'm going to try. I'm sure we can do it. Usually it's a hook, it's not just a hole, but this is all alpaca. And I took this brown and spun them, plied them together and made this brown. And this is that brown plied with some silk that's different colors.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, this is something I dyed from a brown. So this fiber dyed with different colors over dye.
Do you knit? Crochet?
I do. I know how to knit and crochet. It hasn't been my thing I've been doing as of late, but yeah, I knit and then crochet, I weave, and I need to find some kind of a hook. You get twists, so it twists. And these little things pull and wind it on, but if I pull it back, it builds up twist. So I'm gonna do that for a second and show you the twist, and then I'll show you how the yarn works. So if I get some twist build up, then I double it back on itself and let it go. I didn't get quite enough, but you can kind of see that's how it makes yarn. So that's called ply. So that's a 2-ply like that. But that's how you can tell if you've got enough twist in it or not, if it'll make that yarn. Don't have quite enough twist in it, but that's okay because I don't really want to get it overly twisted right now because I'm gonna add fiber to it. Okay, now I'm gonna find some fiber. I don't know what's in these bags. Okay, so this fiber's been washed, but it hasn't been carded. So this is what it looks like after it's been washed. Okay, yeah, so this fiber has been carded. It's been washed and carded, and this is alpaca. And you'll notice that alpaca, you can feel the difference. Alpaca has no lanolin in it. And it doesn't have a lot of crimp or stretch, where this is stretchy. I think this is actually wool, it's stretchy. And alpaca really isn't. On my machine, I have a machine that's an electric carder. This was hand carded. And it comes into rolags. These are called rolags. And you card them off and they come into something that's long and kind of already formed. So I can start spinning with this. It's probably what I already have on here. Okay, after you card it, then it's called roving. I don't know why they call it roving or where they got the name from. It would be interesting to explore. But you can spin right from locks like this as well. They make art yarn from spinning from locks. Maybe I can show you how to make art yarn. These are wool. They have lanolin in them. Can you feel kind of the greasy feel?
Yeah.
So usually I spin from the right. So to catch on, I'll just get it going. And then just kind of stick that there and it'll just grab it. So when you're spinning, the only thing you're paying attention to is the space between your fingers. So this is called the spinning triangle. And you're just stretching it. So this is called drafting. Drafting it out. And I have a tendency to spin way too fine. I'm used to spinning alpaca and it spins fine. So I'm a fine spinner. Most people struggle to get to be a fine spinner, and I struggle to not be a fine spinner. So that's all spinning is. It's just putting a twist. So the wheel, it just makes a twist. And so my only thing is my foot isn't keeping up with my fingers. Trying to make it a little thicker there. So what you don't want to get, it's like a, how did they say this the other day? The turtle, and the hair and the turtle or something. You don't want the hair to get stuck up in here. Because if I was to let this go and let this bin move up into here, I'll do that just to show you. If I can get the wheel moving again. If I don't get it there, if I don't stretch it out enough, then I'll get resistance, and now I can't stretch it out because it's too tight and too hard. So to fix that, I have to kind of untwist it so I can get ahead of the spin. So you don't want that twist to come in between your fingers at all. So that probably has about the right. You want to do a little pigtail that's a couple inches long, so that needs a little more twist in it. I think I remember now why it was different last time while I was spinning for the DUP. Took me a minute to get it going. Okay, I'll do a little more, and then I'll add enough twist that we can see what the yarn would look like. Okay, so I'm going to pull it out. So there you can see, get an idea of what the yarn's going to look like when you're done. Of course, when you wash it, you're going to apply it to something else, but that tells you, okay, I've got about the right amount of twist in it that I want. So I don't want to twist it anymore, so I'm just going to quickly roll it on. And that's what you do. That's all spinning is. It's just drafting. Just trying to keep the space between your fingers the way you want it to be. And sometimes it's fun to have textured yarns because it just gives a little personality, but depends on what your project is for. So when you decide to start spinning, kind of have a project in mind. These have half the grease left in them. They've been washed, but they still have some grease left in them. Some spinners really like to spin in the grease because they feel like it moisturizes their hands. Do it with the left instead of the right. So you get texture, and some people add all kinds of different fun things. So these are how you get those really fun shawls. I don't know, if people who are knitters and they look for yarn that has personality. Seen them do like denim strips that they add. Oops, lost the white. But that's okay, I can just transition and spin only the colored if I want to. Maybe I'll do that, and then I'll show you what it would look like to apply that. So, okay. Now where it's really thin here, it's getting over twisted. And it's not really twisting into that thicker stuff, so I'm just going to move some twist up to it a little bit. And then I'll have to hand feed it on because those eyes are not loving the thick. This machine is more built for a thinner one. You see the size of the eyes. So it needs a little bit of assistance to roll the thicker yarn on. Every once in a while, just stop and do that. We'll switch over to the colors now for a while. So this hasn't been carded, so you can spin from uncarded fiber. Let's see how it kind of candy canes in. But you can do tails and twists, so if I want to just do a lock, you can just leave a lock on there and just let it go. Whoops. A lot of people pay a lot of big money for art yarn. I first learned on a drop spindle. They're kind of fun. Some people use only drop spindles. You can spin with a pencil if you want to. You don't have to have a machine. You can make your own drop spindles with, CDs and a pencil. And the distaff is a big staff that would stand up, and they wind all the fiber onto that, and then they pull off of it. Sometimes women can spin while they're walking, and they'll stick the distaff under their arm and just pull the fiber off of that while they're spinning over here with something else. Yep. So this is textured art yarn. You see you got thick and thin going. I wish I had another. I wish I could ply this off maybe. But that's the whole technique of spinning. The whole art of spinning is learning how to draft. And the draft happens right there in your triangle.
And that means to straighten the fibers out.
Yep, we're just pulling the fibers out, drafting them out, and then we let the spin come in when we want it to. So you're controlling how much spin comes in and when that happens. So if I want to do a thicker, like a DK weight, see, I'm used to spinning it like a lace weight, but you just have to let the triangle between your fingers get bigger. So just don't draft as heavy. This, obviously, this isn't carded, so it's not going to be smooth, which is fine. It just depends on what your application is and what you want to do. These are little tiny pieces that aren't going to work. So it's getting too thin. I don't like it that thin, so I'll just get the spin going and introduce more fiber to it. I'll grab it here in a second. There we go. And we're off again. This one is a production spin, and I can do a pound of fiber on this. And it just, I don't have to use my feet to do it, and I can spin really fast with that. This one sits up like this, and I have spools on it, and I'll be pulling them off together to ply them. Now this one, when I'm done, and I want to wind the yarn into a skein, and then these go on in between this. And then I can, there's a hole here if I want big skeins. That'll be a yard, 2 yards each go around. So I would tie it here. If I wanted one, these are 1 yards, these are 2 yards. So if I wanted to just do a 1 yard here, stick it in here, that I'm making skeins out of. So I just hold it here and flip that around, and I would pull it off of this. Say this was on a spool. So I'd have this sitting there, and then I'd wind the skein off of it. Say that's the end of the spool, the skein. So then I undo this here, pull it all off. And so that would be a 1 yard skein. It's still kind of thin, so I'm just going to double it, and then I'll show you how we twist it.
That's how you make the hanks?
To make the hanks, yep. Kind of over twist it, and then we pull one in through the other. And just like yarn, it twists back on itself. So that's how you make the hanks. This came from Ferron, the fiber for this, and it came from a black-faced sheep that a man just didn't want to throw it away. So this girl sent it to me, and it was filthy. And I joined a contest to turn filthy fleece into something usable. And so I took this disgusting fleece and cleaned it. And then my granddaughter helped me color all these colors with Kool-Aid.
How old is she?
In the microwave. She is 12 now, so she was probably 6 or 7. But we put the fiber in quart jars in the microwave with Kool-Aid, and we dyed them in the microwave. And then I spun it all up, and then she helped me on the peg loom make this rug. I'll show you what the peg loom is if you want to see it. Out big long strings, these.
Is that called the warp?
Yeah, that's the warp. And so there's holes in each of these for the warp. And I will grab, I have some rug yarn over here. This is kind of a freestyle rug yarn I've been doing out of just rinsed alpaca. This is Surrey alpaca.
Surrey.
Surrey, there's two different kinds of alpaca, Wakaya and Surrey. And Surrey is the one that we have most of. And it's a smooth, straight lock with luster. This is not showing its luster because it's dusty. But so, that's kind of an art yarn, Surrey rug yarn that I made. You put that on a big loom, or you could actually, I've seen women crochet with this, do big knit, big ones to make big afghans and rugs and stuff out of it. It's endless. So this is just another application of a technique you can use to spin Surrey straight from the fiber to make an art yarn. So okay, this is not plied, this is a single ply. It's not plied. I could ply it, go back and ply it with another strand that would make it more secure, but if you're putting it, it's pretty secure. I mean, if I pull these locks off, it's fine, but a lot of people want the locks to stay on. We can keep them on.